Okay, so I'd like to thank the grace of heaven and the virtues of the masters, mercy of the grand predecessor and predecessors, and the transmitting masters and everyone here for to introduce. Yeah, I mean we introduced the grand predecessor. Well, sometimes I don't know in the video it might refer to him as the senior elder or grand senior elder or something like that. They have different ways of referring to our grand predecessor. But so all right, I'm going to show this little, it's about half an hour video and kind of introduce a little bit of background. This video was done for there was an event in 2013 to celebrate the 30th anniversary of his coming to the U.S. to propagate the Tao, help propagate the Tao. So it goes a little bit about his history and then his coming here as well to the U.S. Okay, so it's got subtitles. It's in Chinese, has subtitles. I don't know if do you need me to like read out the subtitles or you can read it yourself. What?
Depends on how small.
No, you should be able to see it. Let's see.
Sounds the same.
Doesn't make much difference.
Now it's loud.
The great Tao is propagated in the white era. All karmas and affinities come to fruition in this age. As the cultural wind gradually blows west to America, as the sun rises from the east, revealing the first rays of the sun. Grand Senior Elder was born in the Qing Dynasty. These were turbulent times, full of suffering and holy revelations. Carrying on the Tao lineage and mandate of patriarch and matriarch. How difficult it is to transform the world with Tao. With heaven's grace and enlightened masters' virtues and establishing great vows, selflessly dedicating his life to heaven, acting in accord with heaven's will with words of utmost kindness and highest moral character, with melodic words and having great spirit, unsubdued by force, not shaken by poverty, adapting his life to the changing conditions, cherishing the aspiration of sages, shouldering the responsibility for moral justice, like life-giving spring breeze and rain spreading far and wide.
20世纪
The 20th century has passed.
有些人
Some people and events have faded from our
已经
memories.
逐渐淡出我们的记忆，但是
But there is one person whose deeds and words still remain
他
with
说的
gratitude
话
in our hearts
至
and
今
minds.
仍留在我们的心中，感恩在我们的心里。
Turbulent times at the beginning of the 20th century.
1900年，
In 1900, the Eight-Nation Alliance attacked China, blasting open its closed doors with mighty ships
轰
and
开了
cannons.
保守的门户，西方文明
A
一波
wave
波
of
地
Western
涌
culture
入，
poured in,
冲
colliding
击
with this
这个
ancient
文化王
civilization.
国。1901年9月
On
7
September
日，
7, 1901, the Qing government and representatives of the Eight-Nation Alliance signed the
签
Boxer
署了
Protocol.
辛丑条约， 赔上巨款，
paying huge sums in reparations as well as the loss of self-confidence among the people.
同时注记了一个
At the same time,
苦难
registering in their
年代的
minds the
开
beginnings
始
of a bitter period.
辛丑年农历
In
3
1901,
月
on the
20
22nd day of the third lunar
河
month,
北省
a
宁
child
河
was
县
born in
潘庄镇
Panzong Province
又
of
有
Ninghe
个
County,
小孩
Hebei
诞
Province.
生了，在襁褓中
While still in
就
swaddling
被母
clothes, his
亲
mother
带
took
到
him to his
外祖
maternal
父家
grandfather's home
逃
to
避
escape the
战
war.
火。1992年，
In 1992, his elder was 92 years old.
在美国说起
He was in
那
America
段
and spoke of the
往事
events of that period. I was born in the year that the Eight Nation Alliance was attacking China, the year that the Boxer Protocol was signed. China was a closed nation. China was first among nations, with everything being offered to it by others. They came to pay tribute. Then there were trade relations, and Catholicism also came to China. Initially, it was not allowed, but following the Boxer Protocol, Catholicism was also allowed to spread freely in China. Serving one's country by trade, serving heaven by sacred duty.
老前人长大后
After Grand Senior
立志
Elder grew
发
up,
展
he aspired to
事业
develop business and commerce to render service to his country.
26岁以
At age
担任
26, he
天
assumed the
津
dual
大
post
德
of
楼
general
织染
manager and
厂
technical
经理
director
厂长
of the prosperous
兼技
Tianjin
师
Dada textile
管
dye
理
factory.
400多个员
He had
工
over
的厂
400 workers under his
却
management.
因积
Due to
劳
constant
成疾
overwork, he contracted
肺病
tuberculosis
不
and was
起
coughing up blood.
在群医
At that time, the doctors were helpless.
幸遇中医师
Luckily, a
孙
traditional
兰芳
Chinese doctor
劝
named
说
Sun
求
Lan
道
Fang urged
又
him to
蒙
receive
活
Tao.
佛师尊
He also
示
received Holy Teacher's miraculous cure without the need for
于
medicine.
是立志神
Hence, he
修
resolved to devote his entire life to cultivating and propagating Tao. When I built the factory, I hired workers. Later, the company president passed away. When I was 26, I directed the operations of the textile dye factory and sold machines. Initially relying on manual labor, it later became mechanized. It got to the point where I supervised over 400 workers. It caused me to start coughing up blood. In 1938, heaven wanted me to receive Tao. After receiving Tao, I met our holy teacher, Jigong Living Buddha. After recovering my health, I quit my job and dedicated myself to propagating Tao for heaven. I gave up everything. Now I am 92 years old. Self-refinement through the flames of war, resolute will and perseverance.
1930
During the
年代
1930s, as totalitarian nations expanded, Japan invaded China,
日本入侵中国，意大利、德国也
Italy and
入
Germany
侵
also invaded their neighboring
终
countries.
于引爆了
This
第二
finally
次
led to the
世界
Second
大
World
战
War,
正所谓
bringing the calamities and
水
evils
火
of
劫
conflict right
到
before us.
眼前。1938
In 1938, Grand Senior
Lao
Elder
Qian
received Tao in the midst of a raging war.
在遍地烽火中，跟随师尊
Accompany our revered patriarch and matriarch to save countless people who have karmic
不收
affinity.
有缘种子。那些年，
During those years,
老
Grand
前
Senior
人
Elder
目睹
saw
了
with his
人
own
类
eyes
历史
mankind's
上
greatest
最大
conflict,
规模的战争，最多
in
人
which
数
the
的
largest
屠
number of
杀
people were slaughtered.
同时，
At the
也
same
见
time,
证
witnessing the
了
greatest
最
event
大
of
规
universal
模的恐
salvation.
怖，道劫并
It was a
降
reality that both Tao and calamities are descended simultaneously. His elder trained as one of the three talents,
爆出了一
enunciating
篇
the scripture of God's
皇
letters
家
from
书
home and other merciful
一
scriptures
句
of
句
Buddhas and
仙
saints.
佛慈训。各位前人
All the
也
elders
在
were also
我
at the
会中
altar, gathering,
蒙
hearing the
仙
Dharma
佛
of Buddhas
现
and
身
saints.
说法，坚定道理，
Steadfast in their study of Tao, they made great solemn vows to dedicate themselves to be unwavering pioneers of Tao.
弘誓大愿。1941年，
In 1941, Grand Senior
Meng
Elder was
Shizhen
selected by our revered patriarch
老
and
前人
matriarch
领命为点传
to
师，
become a transmitting master representing our holy teacher in propagating Tao. Instructions of Matriarch. propagate Tao to Taiwan.
1945年，
In 1945, the greatest war ended and the whole
普
world
天
celebrated.
同庆。然而，
However, heaven warned that there were still many calamities to come, so Tao must be propagated to the
并
entire
批
world.
示道化万国九州。当大多数人
As most people were
陶醉
reveling
在
in the
战
victorious
胜的
atmosphere,
氛围中，老前人
Grand Senior
透露
Elder's
到
conviction to
信念
propagate Tao
始
remained
终
steadfast from
坚定。
beginning to end.
1947
In
年，
1947, the civil war between the Republic and Communists
愈打
became
愈
more
热烈。
intense.
老前人本来想
Grand
往
Senior
南
Elder
方
originally
开
wanted to
荒，
pioneer Tao within China,
但
but Matriarch instructed him to go
往东
southeast
南
to
方
Taiwan.
老前人乃安排
Thereupon,
各位
Grand Senior
前
Elder arranged for several
先
senior
行
elders to
开
first cross the
荒
strait and
台湾。
pioneer Tao in Taiwan.
这一年中秋节，
That year, on Mid-Autumn Day, our
世尊
revered
病
patriarch
体，
passed away, and his responsibilities were
日月
passed to the
化间。
matriarch.
此后道盘大事
Henceforth, the great affairs
由
of Tao were
师
matriarch's
奴做
responsibility.
主。1948年
In
7
1948,
月
on the 8th
初
day
8
of the 7th lunar month, Grand Senior
老
Elder,
前
with
人
matriarch's
承师
mandate,
母之命，领着一批
led a
人才，
group of talented followers to
前往
Taiwan, taking the first step in propagating Tao
画
to
出
the rest of the
道
world.
化万国九州的第一步。1949
By
年，
1949, both sides were governed separately, and all contact between the two sides was severed.
各位前人孤
The
立
senior
无
elders were
援。
isolated and without help.
这一年，币制
That was also the
改
year
革
of currency
4
revaluation.
万旧钞，
40,000 old Taiwan dollars in exchange for just one
经
new
济
Taiwan dollar.
更是
They were
拮
in
据，
financial straits.
语言不通，意
There was
识
already a language barrier.
加上政局
In addition, the political situation was unstable, and they were constantly investigated
各
by
个
the
前
government.
人在
Every
台
senior
湾遭
elder
逢
encountered
重
ordeals
重考
repeatedly, and
验，
Tao affairs came to a
道
practical
路几
standstill.
度停办。1954
In
年，
1954,
老
Grand
前
Senior
人
Elder
安
arranged for
排
matriarch
师
to
母
come from Hong
从
Kong
香
to
港
Taiwan.
来台湾。师母不忍
Matriarch
孤
could not
儿受
bear to see her disciples enduring such ordeals.
一定结束
She
自
vowed
己
to
愿
atone for the sins of others by secluding herself and doing 10,000 katos
台湾的
vows
道
every
路
day.
渐有
As a result,
起色
Tao affairs in Taiwan gradually improved. The North Star guiding, Tao transforming the world.
1970年代，
During the 1970s, Taiwan's economy took off.
道务也蓬勃。
Tao affairs also flourished and
在
expanded.
1975年，
In 1975, on a rainy and windswept, gloomy tomb sweeping day, Matriarch quietly left the
默
earthly
默地
world.
离开了人间。日月相继归隐，
Patriarch and Matriarch returned to heaven in
老前
succession.
人与各位
Grand Senior Elder and the Senior Elders were like the North Pole cluster of stars lighting up the
照
final
亮
stage of a
牧
journey.
场。此后数年，
Many years later, each
各位
Senior
前
Elder
人
having
奉
Grand Senior
老
Elder's
前人之
mandate
命，纷纷跨出
successively
开
took
荒
steps to
各国的
pioneer
脚
Tao
步
in other countries.
1980年夏季
In 1980,
老
on
虎
the day of the summer observance,
日本天
at the
一宫牧
dedication
场
of Tianyi Temple in
老
Japan,
前人亲临主
Grand
持
Senior Elder personally presided
其
over the
前
grand
人
opening.
成大都旗
Senior Elders Qi
与众
and
宝
Chen
旗共
and all the
享
Dao King
盛
got
会
together for the distinguished gathering.
在海外第一次
It was the first
老母
overseas
节
communion with Laomu, God.
老母慈语，
God
要
mercifully
老前
instructed
人
Grand Senior Elder to carry on Patriarch and Matriarch's heavenly mandate
众
to
生
save the
普
world.
渡。回台后，
After returning to Taiwan, during a sand riding session at Fusan, Tenran Buddha, or Holy Teacher, declared that under God's edict, the succession of the Tao lineage and mandate passes through Grand Senior Elder.
此后，老前人
Henceforth,
更
Grand Senior
积极
Elder more
发展
vigorously developed the
世界
Tao affairs
各
throughout
国
the
的
world.
道务。
Crossing the Pacific, gracing this beautiful land.
1982年9
On
月
September
6
6, 1982, at the venerable age of 82, Grand Senior Elder crossed the Pacific.
远渡太平洋，在整整40
Within
天
just 40 days, he visited
历
5
经5
cities,
大城市，搭飞机、乘
flying in airplanes and riding in
租汽车
subways,
徒步行，
riding in rental cars and walking on foot, going to each house from place to place, searching for those with karmic affinity.
也曾一对一
Even in
不厌
talking to one
其烦
person,
地
always teaching with skill and
循循
patience.
善诱。
A master of this generation, enlightening the lost and
Senior
blind.
transmitter Jin.
Oh, really? That doesn't look like him.
Oh,
This is 大一的男生，小一的男生。
Oh, 大一点是 yeah, yeah,
Stanley.
yeah.
So they're both there.
When was this?
This is like 82, I think. This is probably the first time, I think. That,
这一点角色
35
looks
years
so
ago, 36 years ago, 30 something years ago.
Traveling to many nations, promoting the teachings of Confucius. Unafraid of difficulties, spreading Tao across great distances. Awakening to the innocent sheep or people of this world. Heaven's grace and the virtues of enlightened masters are great and boundless. Pure water, Grand Senior Elder, continuously leading the way. At age 82, personally leading, teaching with skill and patience, and giving off radiance. Pioneering in Houston, assisting in Washington. Walking the streets of New York. Supporting San Diego and assisting the Tao community. Transforming people in Los Angeles.
It's not our line.
Visiting home after home, patiently teaching and advising.
Yeah, I know. She looks so young there.
Travel worn and weary.
No, right.
She was always
was,
by his side.
The 3 pillars and 5 constants of Confucian ethics
Look at you.
will govern the white era,
That is.
shouldering the
Yeah,
great
that's
responsibility of his
这是
mission.
金的，
What is her
金的，
title?
德明大学，德明。
这一趟老前
This time, Grand Senior Elder personally pioneered and established the
地
foundation
下
of Tao
美
affairs in
国
America.
道务的基础。他老说，
His elder said,
美国是20
America is the leader of
世纪
nations in the 20th century.
如果最困难
If
的
Tao
国
affairs
家
can be
能
established in the most
开
difficult
创
of countries, then the other countries
其
are
他国
easily
家就
solved.
可迎刃而解。
Dapper, I know.
Aspiration like a swan, circling in the
Yeah,
sky.
about 90. Yeah,
Once
yeah.
again, crossing distant oceans at 83. Sowing and watering the seeds must strengthen the cultivation. Training the young saplings wholeheartedly. Bravely taking responsibility for all troubles. Caring for others with kindness. San Jose, going great distances to establish a temple. Teaching the principles according to the level of the listeners. New York's Tongde Temple. How much wind, rain, and frost. Carefully guiding without being hasty. Los Angeles has people of affinity, Chinese gathering together. Words seize opportunities to become chapters. Many ethnicities overcoming the obstacles. Training to understand clearly. Working by day and traveling by night, effecting great changes in the heart. Much needed Dharma rain nourishing a foreign land.
两度开到
twice
美
propagating Tao to America.
回台之后
After returning to Taiwan, Grand Senior Elder again indicated that this must be sustained to
一
take
定
root.
要持续扎根。此后，
Henceforth, his elder on many occasions requested Senior Elder Chen
代表他老
to represent him in
到美
America
国
to
主
preside
持法
over
会
Dharma classes, encourage Daokin, and promote new
提
talents.
拔人才，并积极
At the same
鼓励
time, he
后
also
世
encouraged followers to
前
pioneer
往
and
美
develop Tao
洲
in
开
America.
创。而他老也
His
始
elder
终
was
惦
also
记
always
着美
thinking
国
about the
道
Daokin in
基
America. At the venerable age of 92, third time coming to America.
1992
In
年，
1992, at the venerable age of 92, Grand Senior Elder came to America for the third time.
三度莅临美国，乘坐12
Flying
小
in
时
on
的
a
飞
12-hour
机，
flight, he was still radiating
神
with vigor
采奕
as he
奕地
walked through
步
customs.
行入关。众人
Everyone
皆
gave the
竖
thumbs up
起
and
大
were full
拇
of
指，
praise.
赞不绝口。比起10
There were more
年
than 10 times the number of
多出
Daokin compared to
10
10
倍的
years
道
earlier.
奇，个个欢
Each and
欣
every
鼓
one was
舞
elated and strived to get a close look at Grand Senior Elder's elegant demeanor
聆听
and
老
listen to his
家
elders'
慈
exhortations. A decade of managing Tao affairs, gradually flourishing, painstakingly cultivating strong growth. In old age, trekking across distant waters and lands. Third time flying across the Pacific. Glowing with health and radiating with vigor, bright-spirited. Causing a stir at airports, people seething with excitement. Exiting customs, surprised to see so many unfamiliar faces. Male and female, old and young, all together. Arriving in San Francisco, warm like the rising sun. Paying tribute to the virtuous sage. A sage with firm respect and self-reliance. Many places hoping for, and many places resounding. Guangming St. Tao Temple erecting the magnificent blueprint. Perfection of saintly morals striding to a bright future.
It's 从的
Gracing this beautiful land, high mountains and long rivers.
Yeah, near Los Angeles.
Transforming and
Near
affecting
there.
all,
I forgot what they-
forever leaving a good name.
That's 成大故事
Yeah, yeah.
This one in Arcadia.
No, it's not Arcadia. It's
around there.
It's like
San Diego.
Temple City or it's near there, near there.
Witness to universal salvation, practitioner of saving the world.
从八国联军
From the time of the Eight Nation
攻破
Alliance's
的
attack on
世纪
China
初
until the last days of
到
Tao
清
propagation
理
in
美国
America.
产道的世纪末，几乎活
Grand
过
Senior
这
Elder, basically
20 世
having lived
纪
through the
的
entire 20th century,
是大
is a
道
witness
国
to
度
the
的
great
见
Tao's
证人，
universal salvation,
更是
and is even
儒教
more the
双元
practitioner
的
of Confucian
实
ethics
践者。
this era.
现在大道普遍
Now the great Tao has spread widely to all countries. What ability do I have?
来到美国
Coming to America, everybody is welcoming.
我什么也不会
I don't have any abilities, right?
是吗？老天天告诉
Heaven's Tao is inconceivable.
佛教
Buddhism isn't China's.
说中国的，回教
Islam also is not China's.
天主教
Catholicism also is not China's.
各教全
None of the religions is China's.
先祖早已都
Buddhas and saints have already told us from the beginning, our nation, China, this time Confucian ethics is for the harvest,
有中
spreading from China to the rest of the world. When I first received Tao, I didn't believe a word of it. Who am I to go around propagating Tao around the world? I'm just an ordinary person. You see, when I came to Taiwan in 1948, no one was receiving Tao over there. Now look at Taiwan, expanding to countries all over the world. The enlightened master's heavenly mandate is inconceivable. We are all here by heaven's mandate. Why? To propagate Tao. To save the people of affinity in this world. The purpose of Tao is to unify all religions. Only when all religions return to one can there be world harmony. When I received Tao, Buddhas and saints said all immortals have come to this world, mostly as females. I said, what does that mean? You're all here by heaven's mandate. Everyone is a bodhisattva come to this world to help propagate Tao. So I asked, how do I know someone is a bodhisattva come to this world? Qigong Living Buddha said it is someone who receives Tao, believes, and ferries other people. Now you still have relatives and friends who are good with you, but ask them to receive Tao and they refuse. You don't think this is so? So each person's foundation and affinity is different. Anyone who receives Tao has the foundation and is Buddha affinity. Virtuous example of pure water elder flows endlessly. Tao is your life, it is your conscience. To let your conscience be your master is moral integrity. We must listen to the true principles. But heaven's Tao is without sentiment. Good people reap karmic blessings, bad people reap karmic retributions. If you establish virtues and perform merits, heaven will keep track. If you commit sins, heaven will also keep track. So the great Tao is without human sentiment. This we must know. So today we receive Tao, then must we cultivate Tao? You are unable to cultivate Tao. You say you are cultivating Tao. How to cultivate this Tao? Today you people are what? Not one has a proper heart. Today everyone says you do not have a proper heart and you aren't too pleased. It is because you're not pleased that your heart is not proper. Today I come here. We are all fellow students, disciples of Qigong Living Buddha. I just say these things to you. So what are we doing now? Asking you to attain Buddhahood. How can it be so easy? What did Sakyamuni Buddha do? What did Guanyin Bodhisattva do? Save sentient beings, right? Right, saving sentient beings is Buddha. We are ordinary people. This is my wife, this is my son, my house, my money. Other people can't take my money. Isn't it so? Calculating for the sake of this body. Taking advantage to the utmost and not to lose. Creating a body full of sin and going to hell. Having more wealth creates more sins. He has money. Tao cultivators do not seek any vices. Giving of oneself because one sees the pitifulness and suffering of sentient beings. And saving the sentient beings of the world. So after his death, the person who was saved makes offerings to him. Ah, you are a living Buddha. A Buddha is living. Worshipping Shakyamuni Buddha, that is just worshipping a false image. And where is the Buddha? In the scriptures, Buddha said it very clearly. Your true nature is Buddha. What Buddha? There is no Buddha outside. What Tao? There is no Tao outside. Tao is your own life. Is everybody ready to become a Buddha or to go to hell? Become a Buddha. Become a Buddha. When I first received Tao, our holy teacher, did I call him holy teacher? I didn't know any of this. Never heard of universal salvation before. One point can transcend death and the bitter sea of incarnation. I never heard of this before. Heaven is right here and now. Right now, like today we meet. Right now you have no vexations. This is heaven. Someone scolded me or they broke something, I get angry. Getting angry is the bitter seed. Let's say someone scolds me, I even thank them. It's not mine, so no problem. You've seen through it. Everything is false. You see through it that this is false, then your vexations disappear. Okay, I wish you all well. We all meet as fellow students. I am old. Arriving in America for the first time in 1982. Then for the third time in 1992. Old yet more firmly and diligently working for Tao. Transforming and affecting all forever in our hearts. Looking at a dignified elder worthy, yet warm and kind at heart. His stern words are breathtaking, causing people to deeply introspect. Heaven's mandate is called the nature, enlightened master's one-point transmission. Follow this nature and cultivate Tao to return to absolute heaven. Way of humanity is not satisfactory unless filial piety is placed first among virtues. Parents are living saints. The great Tao propagates universal salvation. Confucian ethics is used for the harvest. Do not invert human relations and ethics. True Buddha is made in family life. True Tao is used in daily life. Virtuous example of pure water elder endures forever. Heaven's mandate is called the nature. Enlightened master is one-point transmission. Follow this nature and cultivate Tao to return to absolute heaven. Way of humanity is not satisfactory unless filial piety is placed first among virtues. Parents are living saints. The great Tao propagates universal salvation. Confucian ethics is used for the harvest. Do not invert human relations and ethics. True Buddha is made in family life. True Tao is used in daily life. Virtuous example of pure water elder endures forever. Okay, so so that was just a brief introduction, kind of background on our grand predecessor. So you can see from that, I mean, he's right, one of the interview or recordings he was saying, right? There's no, who is he to propagate this Tao all over the world? Spread it. I mean, he's very humble, obviously, but it's true. It's actually this Tao is it's beyond our. I mean, it's because of heaven's help, the help of the Buddhas and saints, that the Tao can propagate all over the world. Of course, it's through our own, efforts as well, of course. But to say that he has no, I mean, he just comes out and helps. But yeah, so he's very humble. So we have to learn from that, and his humility. It's all heaven's grace, right? It's all heaven's grace. So that's why we always say, thank the grace of heaven, because and the virtues of the masters, our holy teachers, they're the ones who really make everything happen. And it's just that if we follow this, you can say this is heaven's will, the way of heaven, then we can succeed in propagating this Tao everywhere. And of course, the propagation, the Tao is in, like he was saying, the Tao is in daily life. It's not, yeah, okay. And then so basically, it's in our conduct, right? Our speech and our thoughts, everything. And so, yeah, it's, so you're saying that also, right? Well, we had religions for, past thousands of years. There were religions. But ultimately, you can see what happens with religions. Then they can't reconcile with each other. Okay, so there's conflict between religions, and so ultimately Confucianism, which is not really religion, it's more like a philosophy of ethics and moral behavior.
Yeah, it's more moral.
Moral, yeah. So that's kind of neutral, if you will, in terms of it's not religion, right? So that's why ultimately he's saying that, or I guess the Buddha's even saying that ultimately it's the religions how have to return to the origin, which basically through this ethical principle, the core, yeah, it's the core of it, yeah. Of basically all the religions, they do teach that, yeah. But it's returning to the core, yeah. There are other stuff, so getting away from the external stuff and getting back to that what's inside the heart and mind, people, right? So that's really what the key. So that's why ultimately this Tao, the propagation of the Tao, is really to let people understand, realize this core principles of Tao. The core principles of basically what Confucius is teaching. The core principle is all the religions. To get back to that. And that is the only way to kind of dissolve all the differences, right, and the conflicts. And then the other thing, important point he's making also, the Buddha, where's the Buddha? The Buddha is our true nature, our Buddha nature. Okay, so it's not outside, yeah. People, unfortunately, over thousands of years, religions, right, they just start focusing on the forms, the statues, all these forms that they worship these. But that's not where the Buddha is. The Buddha is inside each of us. Okay, we all have the Buddha inside, and so we have to discover that and manifest it in our lives. Follow the way of the Buddhas, right? Not worship the Buddhas. The Buddha's never said to worship them. That's something we do, but they want us to learn what they've learned and to do what they do, right? So that's what that's what we're here to learn, to do that.
Yeah, we started going down the wrong path because we started differentiation in our mind. See, we start saying, oh, I'm I, and then there's a Buddha outside. See, we differentiate. We didn't realize that the I is really your Buddha. Okay, right. You are already your Buddha. Okay, so that's what that started the whole downward path.
Right. So that's why, the Buddha says he's awakened. He's awakened to the reality, to the fact that he is Buddha, or everyone is Buddha. Everyone has that Buddha nature, that true nature. So that's why receiving the Tao is to point that out to us. Point out that, well, of course, opening up that gate, but pointing out to us that we are the Buddha. The Buddha is inside. We don't need to look far and wide to find the Buddha. Okay, so it's Buddha's within us. So we have to look within. Right, so that's all the teachings. Say, we gotta turn inward to look for that truth, to understand that truth inside. It's inside of us, each of us, right? It's our conscience. So we just follow that, and then that is the way. So, so we should not focus on any of the external forms. The forms they're changeable, and then they cause us to differentiate, like Kai said. And so it's the Tao is beyond form. That point transmission from the transmitting master or the enlightening teacher is the true transmission of the Tao. That is the Tao. It's invisible. It's without form, but yet everything depends on it. So we kind of need to kind of get out of the mindset of saying, oh, it has to be something tangible. The truth is intangible, you can say, but it can manifest itself, right, through the truth. So, the Buddha nature, we can't see our Buddha nature, but you can see a person's virtue, right? When they manifest it, they follow the conscience, they show their Buddha nature, then that is something that we can see. And that is like the manifestation, or the manifestation, the form, if you will, of that Buddha nature. Okay, so that's, but then again, we have to realize that that is just the manifestation, that we need to get to the root, what that thing is, that Buddha nature. Okay, so that's, yeah. So any I don't know, comments or questions about? I mean, although I guess I've met the grand predecessor a few times, but back then I didn't really talk to him directly, I guess. But yeah, I mean, you can tell. I mean, he's a person of virtue, and he's like, well, there's someone very distinguished, or very I don't know. It's everything he does is proper, is just right for the situation, and yeah, he has that, I don't know, that's aura, or that the air about him, that's like, yeah. Well, not enigmatic, but
you can sense it. See, that's the strange thing. It's like, I use one human example. Let's say, you have a friend who has a pet dog. So you have a sense of, I would say, fear, or that the dog will sense that. It's kind of weird. Dog can sense that, hey, you are a stranger, or you have some, there's something not right about you, or fear, or something.
Yeah, they can sense your emotion.
I'm using that's a very bad example, but it's like that with when you're dealing with, people of virtue or non-virtue. Everything, see, when we talk in the Buddha nature class, maybe it's too abstract. We talk about that, that stillness and illumination, right? 急躁, right? 急躁, right? That it's very abstract, 急跟躁. So actually, all virtuous people, all sages, saints, Buddhas, Bodhisattvas, their conduct, their lives, maybe that's a better, their lives all reflect that. 急跟躁. So like our grand predecessor, he doesn't, whatever he thinks, he says, he acts, it's nothing selfish. It's all selfless, and all what he says is about the Tao. That's it. It's about the Tao. Nothing else. Nothing else. Yeah.
So there's this example that was mentioned in the Liu Jiangxi's tape. So he at the time he was the driver for him, and they both visited a factory. Right, there was this big giant dog right there. So the dog saw the grand predecessor coming in. The dog did not do anything.
Right.
That's because the animal, like you mentioned, they can sense that virtue, right, from this person. And when Liu Jiangxi's turn to go in, he started barking at him. He's like, oh my God.
I'm not
virtuous yet, or I'm not the virtuous one. So that was quite interesting.
Yeah, they have like this air of righteousness, uprightness. That 正气, right? That we say 哈兰正气. It's a great, I don't know, that qi, the energy of the righteous energy. You can say, upright energy.
The dog sat down actually. And let him pass by. But then when the next person coming in, the dog started jumping around and barking at him.
Right. So this is something that there's a lot that we can learn from these they're you say the role models for cultivators, for all of us cultivators. The other important point that was mentioned is like who's okay. So what does the Buddha do, or Bodhisattva, right? It's like you're saying that all basically we're all bodhisattvas who made vows to come down to help propagate the Tao. So basically, bodhisattva is Buddhas to help sentient beings, right? To ferry them to enlightenment as well. So that is, our purpose, our mission here. I mean, if you think about it, supposedly in the green period and the red period, there were 200,000, millions? I don't know. How many millions of people who attain, enlightenment, and they all have to come down during this white period to help Maitreya Buddha, to propagate it out all over the world. So we could all, don't underestimate us, and don't forget what our purpose is here. Okay.
I didn't get a chance to talk about it in my class, but bodhisattvas. Now, why are all of us, well, first of all, in last year or previous class, we talked about and I think you talked about one of your topics about the small vehicle, the intermediate, and then the large. We say large vehicle. Why is bodhisattva, right? The cultivation of the path, maybe the path towards a bodhisattva or Buddhahood is considered a large vehicle, right? I mean, and so why are we considered in that large vehicle? We're not in the small vehicle like Arhatship or Pratyeka Buddhas. It's because, number one, well, there are a couple requirements. One is we all receive the Tao. That's number one. We receive the three treasures. That's what I meant by that. And then number two, in our course of cultivation, we help spread, teach, help others. So it's both yourself and others. That's what distinguishes bodhisattva, or the large vehicle, versus the small vehicle. Arhats, just myself. I don't care about the others. I mean, I'm not going to teach the others. I'm not going to spread the teaching to the others or show the others the way. Get it? So that's the difference. So that's why we're all on the path of bodhisattva. Those 52 levels, we're all in there. We're all in that path. So those of us who have the affinity to receive the three treasures is, you can say an indirect proof that we are all cultivating that path of bodhisattva. You know what I'm saying? We're all. So don't underestimate yourself. So we're all on that path. So we're all beyond arhats. Right. So that's why we're on the large.
Right. Yeah. The difference between large and small. I mean, the small vehicle is basically, there's still the idea of a self, because he's not the arhat, whoever kind of still distinguish himself from others, and so that's why he's not. So the Bodhisattva and Buddha, there is none. It's just one. So that's why they will try to treat all sentient beings as the same, and so try to help all sentient beings. So that's the only way to reach the absolute, the Dharmadhatu.
Buddhahood.
Yeah, the Buddhahood, and that's.
Otherwise, you're Pratyeka.
Yeah, then you're still by yourself, right?
Which is dead in, right? It's called dead wood samadhi.
Right. So
burnt
seed, yeah.
Burnt seed.
So as long as we are propagating the Tao, bringing other people to receive the Tao, or spreading the gospel, the truth of the principles, then that's what you're on the path of Bodhisattva. So so don't I mean, the key is maybe we were a Bodhisattva and then we come to this world, but then we shouldn't like backslide. So we need to make sure. We need to continue, and do as much as we can to make sure that we return as a bodhisattva too, as opposed to it would be worse, right? We can be a fallen angel, so to speak, right? If we don't complete our mission, okay. So anything else? No. Okay. Well, anyways, so that was kind of a brief introduction, kind of background.
Explain why he has the title of white water.
Oh, okay. The white water, or the pure water elder, right? That's a name that he gave himself, and he never drank tea. He always drank water, just boiled water, hot water. Yeah. So he didn't drink tea, and so he kind of gave himself that name. This is also a humble name. Okay. So
also has a symbolism too.
Yeah,
The
the
water.
pure, you know, the water, you can say represents that the Tao, right? I mean, it's that pure, the pureness, the purity of the Tao,
Well,
and
道德经, right? Lao Tzu
Yeah.
also said that.
and the virtues,
You know,
right?
What is the greatest virtue? Well, he used an
Yeah, it's-
example, right? Because it flows like
Right
water.
down, there's humble,
Right.
you know. all
So
the-
because it's soft, right? Water can be soft and hard, right?
Right.
You know, very interesting, right? State, yeah. But it also flows to the lowest level.
Right.
You know, so you can say it implies humbleness,
Right.
Humbleness, and also water is like a universal solvent.
Yeah, I mean,
Right?
it's also,
So
you can say
it
it's,
can tolerate everything.
it can be in
tolerate-
harmony with everything. It can
tolerate,
accept
harmony,
everything.
accept,
Yeah, so,
everything.
so,
it's a very
Cleanse, it also cleanses.
yeah,
Yeah.
That's why it's a universal solvent.
yeah,
right?
so it's got a lot of
Washes-
virtues, you can say, qualities
Yeah,
that are
that's
like virtues.
Yeah,
right.
And then
symbolic. of
also
that.
over time it can dissolve rocks.
That's
Right,
what I'm
right.
saying,
I mean,
yeah.
so yeah, perseverance, you know,
It
all that.
erode all
yeah,
obstacles or whatever, you know, but it's natural.
Right.
Water flows naturally, so it's very interesting.
yeah. So they, you know, water. They like to use the example of water as a kind of a, you know, demonstrating or manifesting these virtues that we also should strive to have, right? Okay, so all right, so I guess time's up. So I thank the Grace of Heaven and the Virtues of Masters again to present this. If I had said anything wrong, I ask the Buddhists for forgiveness.